You know, usually I won't use the term monster to describe a human being, but that Ted Bundy fella, it's pretty fitting. Hello my brothers and sisters, my name is Daidarius and welcome to a review of Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. That's a mouthful. So the Ted Bundy movie, because that's what I'm going to call it, is a retelling of the Ted Bundy case with Zac Efron as Ted Bundy. And let me tell you, so I don't really need to summarize the plot, but in case you don't know Ted Bundy, he was a serial killer who was loose in the late 70s and then early 80s. He murdered, or he actually brutally murdered, a lot of women. 30 at least, but the police actually think the number is higher than that. But we follow Ted Bundy as he falls in love with this girl called Liz, and they form a relationship. Then we see them be together for quite a while, actually it's a couple of years, until Ted is captured by the police because he is the prime suspect in a murder case of these young women. And then the case happens and shit goes down and you just feel the skin crawl on your back. So let's jump into what I liked about this movie. First of all, I need to take my hat off, or tip the hat to Zac Efron, because Zac Efron hadn't really shown, at least I haven't seen all of his movies, but to me he hasn't really shown he's a great actor. He just shown me that he's capable of actor. I mean, he can act okay, he can act believable, but here he actually brings his, he actually done a fucking fantastic job in here, because you don't really see Zac Efron. That's the beauty of it. You don't see Zac Efron. You actually see Ted Bundy. You see this good-looking, charming, smooth-talking man who just can woo every woman on the planet at the time. I mean, even when he was on trial for murdering and raping women, girls and women just got to the court because he was so wooing. He might even be innocent, even though all the evidence just said, no, there's no way that this isn't the guy that just wanted to be with him. Some of them even said they might be in love with him. That is who Ted Bundy was. He was a very charming man, which also explains how he was able to kill all those women, because he actually wooed them into a false sense of security before he, you know, killed them. But Zac Efron does an amazing job. Just everyone in general actually brings their A game, but it's not too dramatic. Again, it is more a realistic portrayal of these human beings, which also makes every description of these murders just it makes your stomach turn. It really does. I also like the fact that it didn't show any of the murders. Not that I can't handle any of the murders. I mean, I love me some Saw, as you might know from my Jigsaw review, but it didn't quite fit in with the tone of this movie, because it didn't want to show you what a monster Ted Bundy was. It actually wanted to show you what kind of human he was, and then contrast that with his monstrous side. It is not until very, very late of the movie that you actually get a pretty graphic description of what he has done. And then at the few final scene of the movie, you actually get a sense of what a monster he really is when he dives into that part of his character, or part of his persona, actually. So I appreciate the fact that they actually depicted Ted Bundy as a human being, because that is what he was. Because a lot of people think that when you have a killer or a rapist or just a monster in general, then they will be as they are in the movie. They will look evil, they will act evil, they will be evil, but the frightening thing is that often they are not. They are not evil, or they are evil, but not showing their evil side. They look like normal human beings. Hell, they could even be an attractive human being that you will actually fall for. You will be lured into a false sense of security. You might not even experience their murderous side. That's what makes them terrifying. Not the fact that they murder people, even though that is an aspect of it, but the fact that you don't know that they are capable of it. And that was also kind of the big deal of the Ted Bundy case, was that here was this pretty young man who was quite bright and intelligent, accused of these brutal murders, but when you looked at him, it didn't seem like he was capable of doing those. And that is the terrifying monster aspect of him. I also like the pacing in the movie. The pacing was, for the most part, quite, you know, even. But the movie takes a bit of a time to dive into what it really wants to tell with the story. It introduces quickly Ted Bundy and Liz, and then you kind of see their relationship grow until he gets thrown into jail, and the movie then takes off after that. And again, I know they did that to show his human side and kind of humanize Ted Bundy to make him more terrifying, but I just wish the movie picked up maybe somewhere else. Maybe he has just committed a murder and you just saw the aftermath. You saw him being normal and charming and walking away from a murder scene, and then maybe in the background, or just something. I just think that this movie takes too long to actually get going, which is a big deal, but I know this should be in my cons section. Motherfucker, I'm breaking my own rule. But nonetheless, the pacing throughout the movie is well done, and it doesn't really diverge too much from the pacing it says in the beginning. I also like the cinematography of this movie. The cinematography is just natural and decent to look at. It doesn't really try to do something special, but it does create a scenery and atmosphere in this movie that takes you right back to the 70s and 80s. And also kind of creeps you out when you are with Ted Bundy because you don't know what he's thinking, and hell, you even kind of second guess yourself, is this really the man? Which I applaud the movie for doing, because that is kind of how a lot of people saw it, is this really the man? And then you get the evidence thrown in your face and you go, yeah, that is the man, or the monster, or the fucker, or the douchebag. Shit nozzle. Also the way it shows the case and how Ted actually tries to wing it into, or direct it into his own advantage, was quite interesting to see, because he knows he's fucked, but he's gonna play this I'm innocent card throughout the whole ordeal. He's gonna play it so convincingly that you are gonna, as I said before, second guess if he is the actual killer. Until we get to the end of the movie, not until then are you absolutely I mean, unless you know the real history behind it, but now we're just gonna go for the movie. Not until the very end are you gonna be definitely sure that this is the killer. And the reveal, not shockingly, but was just done very well, because you just realize that he is a monster and he has this facade that he's so amazing to play and just put on, and you don't think he's a monster. No, I wanted to poke fun at this movie. I wanted to tell jokes because that's usually what I do, but this is not the movie for this. This is a terrible movie. Not that this is a bad movie, but just a terrible subject that we need to, talk about, because it is creepy and it's disturbing and fucked up. Now, of course, this movie has been helped a lot with all the Ted Bundy tapes and the Ted Bundy trial that was shown on television. The first trial that was shown on television, mind you. And you just, a lot of times you just go, did that really happen? That cannot have happened. That did happen. Ugh. Now, when that is said and done, there are some aspects of this movie that I didn't really appreciate. First off is how long it takes this movie to actually get going and be interesting, because Ted and Liz's relationship, I just didn't really bought it. And that might be because that we know who Ted Bundy really is. We don't really think that he actually loves her, but the movie later shows that he really did care for her. But I just thought there was a lot of time wasted on their relationship that didn't really need to be focused on that much, because it is not the core aspect of the movie. Yes, it shows the side of Ted Bundy, but then again, the most of the movie is focused on his manipulative capabilities. You just waste a lot of time on that relationship, and actually, you just want to get to the case. You want to get to the meat of the story, and again, as I said before, the movie takes too long to get, going. Then there's some aspect of the movies is just focused more on too much, and some of the aspects of the movie actually kind of felt like filler, that we're just padding the runtime until we get to the 1.5 hour mark, so we can get big reveal he is in fact, a monster. And also in general, the movie just feels a bit too long. And I mean, again, I know why they wanted to stretch the movie as long as it did, and they focused on Liz and Ted's relationship, because when they are apart, then she's a complete mess. She's becoming an alcoholic. She can't really do her job. She can't really be a good mother. It's just destroying her, and you focus a lot on that aspect, so it kind of irritates and caves on you. And it's a smart directional choice when you want to tell a story, but I just don't think it is to the movie's advantage. What you're gonna end up getting is you're gonna get a pretty realistic take on the Ted Bundy case, and in case you haven't really researched Ted Bundy, then this will be a fine gateway into that horrific event, or just that monster hit. The pacing is decent, the acting is amazing. The cinematography is also quite great. The movie is a bit too long, and there's some aspect that's focused on too much for its own good, and it doesn't really utilize it enough. But I will say at the end of it that now I need to tell this movie title again. Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. It is worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. Even though that I might not buy it on Blu-ray because I'm not sure I'm gonna ever watch it again. But it is worth buying on Blu-ray if you're considering, because it is actually a very well-structured movie, and I appreciated the hell out of it. So, the Ted Bundy movie, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And what is your favorite dramatization of a real life or real historic murderous case or just trial in general? I haven't seen that much, so for the time being, we're gonna go with this one. But whatever you think, comment below me your thoughts. And as always, until I see you in the next video, remember to stay awesome. Bye! He's just...